Season 3, Episode 14, Grotesque. Speaking of Grotesque, we've got Kurtwood Smith in here from RoboCop. Anytime I think of RoboCop, I think of the grotesque freaking, like, I don't, like, sewage fucking thing. Like, so this guy gets, like, raw sewage or something, like, he gets doused in it. I think that's what it is, and he becomes all, like, he's, like, falling apart, and then, like, a truck hits him. It's an awesome scene. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's, like, one of the more grotesque things in film, and Kurtwood Smith from RoboCop is in here. You know him from that 70s show.
Oh, that's right.
But
That's right.
I never really watched that show. It's not, I don't know, it missed my generation.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I watched it. I feel like I watched it a lot, but only because it was on TV all the time. I wasn't really that into it. It just was kind of always playing.
Oh, yeah.
So it would always be on TV, and I just kind of, like, watch it, but
that's how I know him. He's, like, you know, one of the main bad guys in that movie. Anyways, he is like this respected yet feared criminal profiler that calls Mulder in. This is yet again, I mean, we get another one of these, like, you know, Mulder or Scully, but mostly Mulder, like, gets called into these cases because of his expertise in the bizarre, but they also, like, don't want to give him the credit. They also, like, want to, like, push him. He really loses it this episode.
This episode, like, he spirals into, like, obsession.
And this is the one that's right after Syzygy.
It is. It's
so
a
that's
weird,
funny
like,
because,
follow-up.
Yeah, he's... So in the, like, 3 episodes, or 2 episodes ago, we have Scully and Mulder fighting.
Yeah.
And that, like, carries over into the next episode where they're still fighting. Mm-hmm. And then this last one, Syzygy, he's, like, you know, not acting himself at all, being super weird. And then the follow-up episode here,
he's also not acting
going
like
on
himself.
Like a full bender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of weird stuff in the last few episodes with their personalities, but
it's good to change it up.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the one where the killer, he's, like, drawing gargoyles, like, obsessed with, like, drawing and painting and sculpting and just, like, creating gargoyles.
Well, he's, like, seeing them.
He sees them, which I guess that was my question with this, is, like, because I do feel like the ending is kind of ambiguous. Like, is there an actual entity that's being summoned to kill people, or is it just the artist and, you know, whoever what is it called? Like the muse. I know, like, the gargoyle's like the muse, but I don't know what the name of the person that the muse is is inspiring. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I can't tell if it's the muse that's killing or if it's just the artist that's killing. It's very ambiguous to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't know the artist, right? He's new to us. But we do know Mulder. And we do know how he acts. And unless there's, like, some kind of astrological, you know, event, rare event, he typically keeps his cool. He goes through the wildest of cases. Like, the craziest. This isn't even near the top, nor near the top of the craziest cases they've taken on. In fact, this one's pretty straightforward as far as, like, this is something that wouldn't even really need to be, like, the case as is. Doesn't even need to be in anything like the X-Files. This could play on any kind of, like, procedural type of law show, because it's just like a mentally disturbed guy who's killing people and putting their bodies, like, in wax and like carving them into gargoyles in his, like, secret room. So that to me is just like mental illness. But because Mulder is being affected, and this case isn't any more bizarre than anything else, and there's nothing really there that plays off of anything that is pre-established for Mulder to act this way. Like, you know, his sister or something he's very, like, volatile over. I feel like there has to be something supernatural going on here for Mulder to react this way and to almost be, like, close to being a murderer himself. Like he's like on edge to the point where he could kill someone if this goes on any longer. So to me, just because I know Mulder, I don't see how this isn't supernatural.
Yeah. I mean, I do think you could interpret it either way, though. I don't think Mulder's killing anybody. It's all...
No, but he's losing his mind over nothing.
But it's kind of like... yeah, I don't know. I guess there's a little bit of supernatural stuff. If anything, it just kind of feels like the supernatural element is that when they fixate on this, like, entity, on the gargoyle or whatever, that's what, like, it, like, speeds up their madness, basically. Mm-hmm. But not that there's, like, a separate thing that's coming out and, like, attacking people. Even though Mulder, like, wrestles with, like, an actual gargoyle. Mm-hmm. But I think that's supposed to be...
in his mind.
Either in his mind or the profiler that's, like...
Right. Well, the other guy is, like, bit on the hand.
Yeah.
Right? And we thought that was
We thought he was going to be, like, the obsessive one, but he's not. He ends up dying. Mm-hmm.
No, I just feel like he's... Because, yeah, you could interpret it as he's too deep into the case. Yeah. And, so much so that he's become the case. He becomes the killer that he's trying to profile himself. But, as I said, there's no precedence for it. He's dealt with these kinds of people before. Even that one dude that he puts away that kills the cop in front of him.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't lose it over that guy.
It's also, like, I mean... if it affects Mulder like this and he's only been looking at the case for like a couple days kind of the thing, the profiler, his like old teacher or whatever, has been kind of getting into that mindset of the killer for 3 years, I think they say. So it's like he's been even more exposed.
So he should be way deeper.
Which he is.
Right.
Yeah. So...
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like in this episode that... Scully and Skinner are both worried about Mulder because of how he's acting. And they kind of have like a little moment where he's like, are you worried about him? And she's like, no, it's fine. And then he's like, all right, like off the record. And she's like...
she doesn't say anything. And she just kind of sits there and it's like kind of confirmed. And then he's like, so am I.
Yeah, I liked that scene a lot.
Yeah.
I also like the way that the bodies are in the sculptures in this. Mm-hmm. Like when
they're creepy.
It's really creepy.
When they pull it away, like their bodies underneath.
Yeah.
They look like very rigid and like it kind of almost reminded me of like how they look in Jeepers Creepers. Oh, and yeah.
House of Wax.
Yeah, House of Wax is a better comparison.
But you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you feel about me nude modeling?
Fine.
Good?
I'd be fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's gotta be... I mean, I know it's supposed to always be for art, and we're supposed to just see it that way, but I don't know. I feel like...
well, they get, like, a lot of different body types, too. Like, that's the whole point.
I know that. I'm just saying, like... I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of calls bullshit on the actors and the models and everything, and they're like, you're doing a sex scene or making out with, or like, because there's like movies we watch where, there's these like really hot people and they're like doing these really intense sex scenes where they're like sucking on each other's nipples and shit, and I'm like,
oh sure,
there's no way you're doing that in just a completely like disconnected way.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way.
I definitely think it depends, like with sex scenes and stuff, I think that like if the actors are really getting into their roles, that it would be totally normal for them to feel like attraction and chemistry and everything. But I also think it would be weird because it's not like you're alone. Like you have like lights on you, you have like a bunch of people on set, like it's not an intimate moment. Like
it depends. So most of the time they do
think
closed sets for sex scenes and for like nude scenes. So they get like a skeleton crew together, and you only get like the director, like a PA, and like, you know, like a very, very limited crew of people, like 4 or 5, 6
Still,
people at
though,
most.
that's still like more people than
It's a lot.
most people have in their rooms when they're having sex.
Most people.
I mean,
we
some
have
people,
at least.
some people would be like really into that. Like that would be
Sure.
like even more exciting. So, but with that, like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I
don't know.
Yeah, I wrote it down, like thinking about it, like what that would be like to sit in front of people with everything just hanging out for
I could not do it.
in a like a very like it's such a vulnerable position.
Yeah,
just,
what
like,
happens if something like
you're just sitting there?
if you
If
get
what?
like attacked or like
Attack?
It's like something happens.
It's like a fire?
in Quiet Place Day 1, and you're just naked, and you're like.
That'd be the least of my concerns. It would be what
Well, you
I
just
was
said because
wearing.
like you're vulnerable, and I'm like, yeah, you'd be even more vulnerable to attack.
Okay, so
You
like
need armor.
if the Quiet Place monsters come, this cotton over my body is not protecting
but
me.
psychologically, it helps protect you.
Does it?
I could not pose nude for anybody.
Not anybody?
I mean, for you, I could, but nobody else. I wouldn't be able to stand in front of a bunch of people naked or sit in front of a bunch of people naked. I would not be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, I mean, I do like the episode. It's been like over a week since we watched it. But I did. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not like a super noteworthy one outside of like Mulder losing it. I really, as you said, I really like the wax sculptures, like and breaking them down, and then we end on like a gargoyle.
Yeah.
Which
That's
I'm
cool.
like, is that supposed to be like a hint to something? And yeah, I mean, Mulder's having like nightmares about being attacked by a gargoyle, but it's like really himself. You know, and it's cool.
It's a good episode. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I think it's a solid one.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess his friend Kurtwood Smith's character. I think it's Patterson. I don't think he's gonna be. Or is that his name? Whatever his name is. I don't think he's gonna be needing Mulder's help anymore.
No, he's locked up. So he's got all the help he needs, I guess.
Yeah. So that's that. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about this one. I just think that it's cool. I mean, and yeah, as you said, he's like obsessed with this case for 3 years, and it just kind of consumes him. I just don't know why Mulder gets consumed with it by proxy.
Yeah.
So heavily. It's just got to be supernatural. That's the only explanation I got. So that's that. All right, we'll move on. Adios.